As we discussed in a previous Pareto breakdown, an IPO is the most common way that companies go public. You did check out that video, right? Because I'm just going to assume you did. If you didn't, you can click on the screen now to watch it. I won't judge you. You can come back. Good? Okay. Almost messed up my flow there.
Now, back to our program.
But an IPO is not the only way to break on through to the public side. There are actually 3 different alternatives to launching an IPO. So when your investment buddies are talking around the digital water cooler about the next hottest stock to invest in, you'll know right where they're coming from. Today, we Pareto IPO alternatives. Okay, so you want to take your company public, but you don't want to raise new shares or raise capital. Fine. More capital for me. Well, you might want to choose this route because, number 1, it's cheaper. No underwriters needed. This method saw increased traction in the 2020s with companies like Coinbase, Slack, and Spotify choosing it as their path to going public. So, bullheaded or not, you're in good company. But all those companies were already full of capital and had super strong brand recognition. If your company is an unknown quantity, direct listing is a much harder route to go. But the advantages are not needing to go on a lengthy roadshow for institutional investors. Instead, you skip straight to your S1 document filing and maybe host a little marketing party to pitch your biz. Your name's already out there, so swap the crusty loaf and caviar with Ritz and pub cheese. In summary, direct listing advantages are minimal to no underwriting fees, no dilution or leaving money on the table, since no new shares need to be issued at a set price before being public traded, no lockup period, so existing investors can sell their shares immediately if they desire. But it's not all Corvettes and private jets. Drawbacks to direct listings include no support from underwriters to publicize the company and find long-term investors, no volatility stabilization if your first day listing goes sideways, and inability to raise new capital, unless you fall under new SEC guidelines that allow companies of a certain size to direct list and do just that. Now, it's time to go old school.
Blue, you're my boy! Thank you, sir.
Not that old. SPACs have been around for quite some time, but got more popular in 2021. A SPAC is a special purpose acquisition company. This is in essence a blank check company created by investors or sponsors to find a company to buy. The SPAC goes public first and then finds a private company to buy. This act of a public company buying a private company enables the private company to become public. In the biz, we call this the chicken and egg switcheroo. No, we don't. Just checking if you're paying attention. A recent example of a SPAC is finance technology platform SoFi, which offers investing support and loans, including home and student loans. With SPAC proceeds of $2.4 billion and a SPAC valuation of $8.65 billion, they made a huge splash when they went public after merging with another company. Why go SPAC? Because traditional IPO processes take 3 to 6 months and the price is set early on. With acquisitions, the going public process happens much sooner. SPACs are also empowered to disclose future revenue projects safely. This makes SPACs highly attractive to pre-revenue and speculative companies to absorb. So back in the day, biotech companies were the bells of the ball. Now, in the 2020s, electric vehicles and clean tech are
so hot right now.
So, there is sometimes a mixed record of how successful SPACs have been, which leads us to the big drawback. The SPAC process can be as complex as launching an IPO, merger and acquisitions, and financing round all at the same time. SPACs, the turducken of going public.
It's a chicken, a duck, a turkey?
Think of it this way. A SPAC, having raised a pool of money by going public thanks to its sponsors, is searching for a company to acquire with this pool of money within 1 to 2 years. The company in question may be looking for a guaranteed price in a volatile market, or is a pre-revenue company looking to disclose projections as part of its story. Once there's a mutual interest between the SPAC and a target company and everyone has gone on a few dates, the SPAC owners will raise what is called a PIPE, private investments in public equity. Think of it as a fundraising round to fund the acquisition of the target company. PIPE validates the valuation and demonstrates the demand for shares. Okay, with the purchase price set and the financing done, then comes the de-SPAC process. Yes, that's a confusing name too, but just hang on. I had to de-SPAC my ceiling once. Very expensive. With the PIPE in hand, the de-SPAC process is like a roadshow to attract new investors and retain original ones. A key difference is that this is merger marketing, not IPO marketing, so the rules are looser. During this part, the target company essentially replaces the SPAC, hence de-SPAC, and becomes the publicly traded entity in compliance with SEC rules. Oh, and it gets to choose a sick new stock ticker more relevant to its name. Here are a few of our favorites. ZZZAC, Big Biz, NWO for life. So in summary, a SPAC is a good choice because it is faster and cheaper, financial projections are allowed to help attract investors, price is set early on so there's no uncertainty about public demand and how much money the company will raise. SPACs can partner with a respectable sponsor to provide expertise. However, there are some cons, such as SPACs may have a negative connotation to them given the types of companies that have historically used them, though this perception may change over time. A SPAC process may be complex given multiple steps and parties involved. Potential dilution, as the SPAC sponsors will own around 20% of the company at a big discount. Finally, we get to a reverse merger, which is also known as a reverse takeover. My favorite pro wrestling move. This method shares some similarities with a SPAC in that a pre-existing public company, typically a low-performing company, merges with a private company. A prominent example is actually Berkshire Hathaway, helmed by investment superstar Warren Buffett, who successfully bought out a textile manufacturer and merged it with his insurance empire without even a simple name change. The reason it's called a reverse takeover is that the private company is the one acquiring the publicly traded company to enable itself to be public. Similar to a SPAC, it is cheaper and faster than a traditional IPO since there isn't a need for underwriters to help with marketing or stock support, and a company can go public within a few months. However, there are reasons this method became less popular as time has gone on. SEC requirements limit the number of these types of public companies in the market. Plus, stock exchanges oftentimes will not let you list until a year after the merger. Sit outside the exchange and think about what you've done, young person. All right, that's all you need to Pareto about IPO. And if you appreciate that I've held back on that pun until now, give our channel a subscribe and stay tuned for more breakdowns. And let us know in the comments what you want to see us break down next. Until we go public with another upload, see you next time.